For the past 25 years, I have been involved in training for professional certifications in the areas of accounting, auditing, and finance. In that time, I have taught classes for a number of different professional certifications: CIMA, ACCA, CMA, CPA, CFA, CIA. Sometimes it seems that there are as many professional certifications as there are professions. I think that common sense tells us that having a professional certification is better than not having a professional certification. But what you want to do is to make certain that you get the maximum benefit from your professional certification, and ideally, you do that as efficiently as possible. Getting a professional certification requires a significant investment in both time and money. For example, to pass the CMA exams, you should expect to spend 300 hours and probably at least $2,000 between exam fees and materials. If you are going to invest what is the equivalent of almost 2 months of work time and $2,000 that you could use for something else, you want to make certain that it will be worth at least that much to you. You want your return on investment to be substantial. Before we get into a couple of specific things that you need to do to get the maximum benefit from your professional certification, I want to talk about how it is that you actually benefit from your professional certification. There are 2 words in the term professional certification. We will look at both of them, but I will start by looking at the second of the words, certification. It is the word certification that I connect with the exams that you take and pass. It is the exams that certify that you know what you know. To understand this point about certifying what you know, we can compare professional exams to university. The quality of the education that someone receives at university varies greatly between universities and even within the same university over time. For example, I have an accounting degree from Miami University. And since it is not the Miami that is on the beaches of Florida, but rather the Miami that is in a small town in Ohio, you have not heard of my university. And since you have not heard of my university, you do not know how to value the accounting education that I have. To let you know, when I graduated from Miami, it was rated in the top 5 accounting schools in the U.S. So my university accounting education is very strong. But outside of the U.S., not many people would know that. Likewise, the university that you graduated from may be the best or the worst in your country, but most people from other countries would not know one way or the other. What is studied is different from university to university. The professors are different from university to university. Who your classmates are is different. While it is good to have a university education, the value of that education may not be easily transportable to another country because nobody knows how to assess your university education. But when you take a professional certification exam, everybody is able to easily see what you know because the syllabus and the examination process is the same for everyone. Every person in every country in the world passes the exact same exam syllabus. Of course, the questions on each exam are different, but the content that is covered is the same for everyone in the world. This means that when you go to any company in any country and you say that you are a CMA, they know what you know. Even if the person has never heard of CMA, they are able to go online, see the syllabus, and understand what is covered on the exam. So no matter what your university education is, the fact that you have passed the certification exam allows them to know what you know. Now, another benefit that you get if you pass an exam that is in English is that it proves at least professional competency in English. This is especially important if you are looking to work in a foreign country or perhaps even in a multinational company that does business in English and you are from a country where English is not the native language. If you have passed your exams in English, you have already demonstrated your ability to work in English. Because of the fact that a professional certification certifies your professional knowledge and may also certify your knowledge of English, a professional certification can be looked at as a passport. It is what allows you to get a job in another company or in another country. It is your proof that you know what is on that exam. And if you compare the cost of a professional certification to the cost of your university education, a professional certification provides a much higher return on investment for you. So that covers the term certification in professional certification. Now we need to look at the second word, which is really the first word, professional. What does professional mean? And for me, this is where the difficulty in really understanding what is meant by a professional certification lies, in the word professional. And to get the full benefit of professional certification, you need to understand what being a professional means. One definition of professional is somebody who is paid for what they do. Olympic athletes are usually amateur because they are not paid. Professional athletes, on the other hand, are paid for playing the sport that they play. Applying this from athletics to business would mean that if you are paid to be an accountant, you are a professional accountant. However, I do not agree with this. What works for athletes does not work for us in other professions. There are some people who have earned a professional certification who are not professionals, and there are professionals who have not earned a professional certification. And there are accountants who are paid to do accounting that I would not say are professionals. So what makes us a professional accountant? To answer that, we need to look at the stages of a person's career that leads up to being, in my mind, a professional. I see three distinct phases in a person's work life that they may go through. If they get to the third level, which is a professional, then they are a professional. Many people do not get to the third stage, and while this is not inherently bad, it just means that they see themselves in a slightly different way than a professional accountant does. The first stage in a person's work life is that of a job. This is the stage most people enter into their work life at, oftentimes right after college. At this stage, the person identifies themselves with the title that they have, the specific work that they do, and the specific place that they work. When you ask this person what they do, they answer with something along the lines of, I am a financial analyst at ABC Company, or I am an accounts receivable accountant at XYZ Corporation. Their focus is on their job at that specific moment in time. I look at them and I say that their focus is down. They are looking only at themselves and only at this current point in time. They are just looking at their feet and largely unaware of what is happening around them. After a few years with a job, many people enter the next stage, which is a career. At this stage, people are still looking at themselves, but they are starting to think about their future and what they want to do in the future. Maybe they are starting to see that the job that they have right now is not where they want to be in the future. They are starting to make a plan of where they want to go. Maybe they are looking for a job in a different department. Maybe they are looking for a job in a different company. Maybe they're going back to school to get a second degree. Maybe they're taking a professional certification exam. But they are starting to be active to make their desired future a reality. When you ask a person at this stage what they do, they will answer with something like, I am working at ABC Company right now, but I would like to become the controller at XYZ Corporation. Or, right now I'm an accounts receivable accountant, but I'm looking for my next opportunity because I do not want to do this for the rest of my life. Their outlook has changed from being down to now being up. They're looking up at their future. They're no longer looking down at the present time, but they are still focused largely on what they want to do in the future. It is at the third stage of work life when a person becomes a true professional. When a person is a professional, their identification is not only with their specific position or the company that they work for. They have realized that their future success is in some way tied to other people, and that they do not do things alone. They are no longer acting in a vacuum that disconnects them from others. When you ask this professional person what they do, they may answer, "I'm an accountant," or "I'm a financial planner." They may add the company that they work for, but you get the sense that that is secondary to the way that they see themselves. At this point, they see that there is a connection between themselves and others who say that they are accountants or financial planners. There is a realization that if other people who are accountants act dishonestly and provide poor services, others will think that they are the same, guilt by association. But it can also work in a positive way. If others behave professionally, all others in that profession will benefit from that behavior of others. And it works the other direction too. Our good works reflect on others. So a professional has a commitment to others in the same profession. There is the concept of the common good, and that is a motivator for a professional. From the perspective of professional certification, this means that there is a connection between one CMA and all other CMAs. When a professional certification carries no legal weight, as many do not, the value of the certification is only as high as the people who have it are able to generate for themselves. Therefore, each CMA has responsibility to other CMAs to conduct themselves in a way that will reflect well on all CMAs. The perspective of a person who sees themselves as a professional has now become up and all around. They are no longer focused solely on themselves, but on what is going on around them and how they interact with that world around them. And these individuals are often active in professional organizations as well, which acts as a multiplier of the benefits to them and their profession as they are able to network and share their experience with others. Now, of course, it is rare that we find someone who is so completely dedicated to a profession that they do not have any focus on themselves. But at this level, a professional learns that they will benefit from the organization, the profession that they are a part of. And they therefore have a duty to maintain that name and reputation of the organization as a whole. So, to summarize this process, to be a professional, you need to be part of a profession. Just getting paid to work as an accountant only means that you have a job. Only when you are aware of the connection between yourself and other professionals in your profession are you a professional. And taking that step of becoming a professional is one of the ways that you maximize the value of your professional certification. And if you have the right professional certification, that certification will help you become a professional. So this brings us to the important questions. How can you use this professional certification to get the most benefit for your career as a future professional? While it is absolutely certain that having a professional certification helps your career and helps you earn more money, there are two factors that impact the amount of that value you will get from your professional certification during your career. The first of these is when you get your certification. The earlier that you get it, the more you will be able to benefit from it. This is just like the idea that the earlier you start saving for retirement, the bigger your retirement amount will be. The earlier you get your certification, not only will you begin to benefit from it earlier, but you will also be able to benefit from it for longer. So, if you have not yet committed to starting to prepare for your professional certification, now is the best time to do that. And by now, I mean right now. Not next week, not next month, but right now. Make that commitment to yourself that when you're done watching this, you will start the process of getting your professional certification so that you can start benefiting from it. If you are still in university, even better. I think that all certifications provide discounts on the fees for university students, and I know that the IMA provides free registration for the exams for university students. Free. So if you are a student, now is still the best time to start preparing for your professional certification. So once you decide to start, what is the first step? Well, The first step is actually the second factor in maximizing the value you get from your professional certification: to choose the best certification for you. While we might be able to say that any certification will provide benefit, choosing the right one will multiply the benefit you get from it almost exponentially. For example, if I want to work as an internal auditor and I decide to become a chartered financial analyst, well, being a CFA may help me get an interview and maybe even the job. But being an internal auditor does not provide me an opportunity to use what I learned becoming a CFA. My benefit from being a CFA as an internal auditor will be greatly reduced compared to if I was a CFA working in investment banking. And similarly, a CIA who wants to work in investment banking is not going to be helped nearly as much by getting their certification as if they had gone into internal auditing. So the key decision for you is to choose the right certification for you. Just because your colleague or classmate is pursuing a certain professional certification does not mean that you should pursue the same one as they are. And it also does not mean that they should be pursuing that certification either. But today we're not worried about your friend or colleague and what they should do. We are concerned about what you should do. The most important factor in choosing your professional certification is which certification will help you accomplish your career goals. To get the right certification, you need to ask yourself, what do I want to be doing in the future? What do I want to be doing 2 years, 5 years, 10 years from now? If you're an internal auditor now, do you want to be a chief audit executive in 10 years? If you're in the accounting department now, do you want to be a finance director in 5 years? Or maybe, instead of dreaming about having a high position in a large company, you want to start your own company in a few years and be your own boss. No matter what it is, once you know what it is that you want to be doing in the future, you are able to decide which certification will best prepare you for your future. There are some general guidelines about the most well-known certifications that I will get to in a minute, but you should be aware that there are some very specific certifications that may be the best for you, if you know specifically what you want to do. For example, the Institute of Internal Auditors has 4 other certifications in addition to CIA. These include Certification in Risk Management Assurance, Certified Professional Environmental Auditor, Certified Process Safety Auditor, and Qualification in Internal Audit Leadership. The Institute of Management Accountants has another credential in addition to CMA. It is CSCA, and that stands for Certified in Strategy and Competitive Analysis. Now, this is a credential and not a certification, but I use it as an example of the specific programs that are available. In addition to these, there are other very specific certifications: Certified Fraud Examiner, Project Management Professional, Certified Information Systems Auditor, Certified Government Auditing Professional, Certified Bank Auditor. Whether or not any of these would be right for you depends on what you want to be doing in the future. And as a side note, most of these very specific certifications are very good second certifications. When you are starting your career, you probably would not know that you want to do something so narrow as being a government auditor. So as you start your career, you are best served by a more general certification. But as your career grows and your interests become more narrow, you may be well served by getting a second, more specific certification. So, understanding that a more general certification is probably the most useful first certification, let us look at a few of the more well-known international certifications that will provide much broader benefit to you by opening more doors for you in a number of industries and professions than a very specific certification would. Among these are CIA, Certified Internal Auditor. If you want to work as an internal auditor, you absolutely should become a CIA. There is no doubt about this. CPA, Certified Public Accountant. If you want to work for an external audit firm or in high positions in the finance function of a large multinational, you may need to be a CPA. However, if your education is outside of the United States, it is very possible that you will not meet the eligibility requirements for CPA. Before you invest any time or money into preparing for CPA, please be certain that you will be eligible for both taking the exam and getting your CPA license. ACCA is very similar to CPA in who it is for, but it has easier eligibility requirements. It also, unfortunately, has many more exams that you either need to be exempt from or pass. It is possible that you will need to spend years passing your ACCA exams. CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst. If you want to work in investment banking, you should become a CFA. CIMA, one of the leading management accounting certifications. Unfortunately, like ACCA, it has a large number of exams that you either need to be exempt from or you need to pass. And last in the list of well-known international certifications that I will talk about today is CMA, Certified Management Accountant. This is the certification that I think is often the most useful certification for someone who is not certain about where specifically they want to be in 5 years, but know that they want to be in the area of accounting or finance or in a management level position in a company. The CMA syllabus is based on how a business operates and the decisions that a manager needs to make in a business. So the way I see it is that the CMA content helps an individual know much more about the operations of the business and the needs of the decision makers in the business. This understanding of how management operates a business will ultimately help that individual add value to the business. And it will not limit you only to accounting or only finance, because the syllabus covers many of the areas of a business's operations. Whether it's CMA, CIA, CFA, CFE, or a certification that I did not even mention today, a professional certification will add great value to your career. The key is to choose the right certification for you. That certification is the one that will help you achieve your career goals. That large positive return on the investment from your certification comes only if it provides value to you by preparing you for what you want to do in the future. So research what you want to do in the future and find the professional certification that is required in that position or will help you get the job that you want. And remember, this is your decision that you need to base on your career goals. Remember as well, the sooner you get your professional certification, the sooner you will be able to start collecting all of the benefits that come with being certified. No matter which certification you may choose, I wish you success on your professional certification exams, and I wish you great success in your career.